Normally cinematographers like to choose the time of day they shoot certain scenes, but London is not as sunny as we imagined it would be.
Hang on, I got power trouble.
It's start mode, Sonny. Start mode on.
I'm Claudio Miranda. I'm the cinematographer for F1. Joe and I have a great relationship. You know, we did Top Gun Maverick, and I think I've done all his movies. I don't think there's one that I haven't done. We just definitely wanted to do something we haven't done before, and you know, we always like the idea of immersing the audience into the whole film, and the best way we always feel is to try to give them a visceral live experience to shoot it as real as possible. What's great with Joe is that he brings me on super early to kind of figure out a lot of technical stuff. What was challenging for F1 was every time I showed them the camera was just too big, and we want the drivers to actually see where they're going, which is unlike Top Gun, because in Top Gun they didn't have to really fly, they just were in the back seat and were being flown around. But this one, we need Brad to really drive, plus 180, almost 200 miles an hour, and we need these cameras to be able to go that fast. At that time, there was still no camera that could be small enough or thin enough that I needed. So I worked with Sony on trying to make some things that didn't exist. We had to make cameras that weren't available. We took apart an FX6 and the brains of an FR7. All the brains would be in the bottom of the car, and then they were just tethered by this little umbilical cable that Sony made. And then for the mounts, I had to give like a 3-month lead time. I couldn't just say, here, put the camera here, and just put up some speed rail. Everything had to be engineered and carbon fibered, and everything's built to kind of crumble in a safe way. We had 6 cars. Each car could take 4 different mounts, and there was about 20 different positions around the car that we could kind of put them in. The side ones were able to pan left or right. We really like the idea of being able to show, wow, we're going really fast, and look who's driving the car. It's really the actors. What was challenging is to shoot scenes in these narrow windows. Sometimes we'd have 15 minutes where the cars would go out. And normally cinematographers like to choose the time of day they shoot certain scenes, but London is not as sunny as we imagined it would be. So we did have issues with clouds. And I found the reality of, like, sometimes you could actually drive on the track and you could drive into shade, and then you just drive for a little bit more, and then you're driving into sun. So in our strive for reality, we just really just dealt with the weather as it was. So Silverstone does have its own kind of a little bit look, and they all have their little personalities. I mean, Abu Dhabi starts in the evening and goes to sunset and goes into dusk, and then it goes into night shooting, so that's very interesting. Vegas has a very interesting lighting setup that's very low, so it gives you this really staccato kind of rapid feeling, and funny enough, it feels like the fastest race because it has that kind of rapid lighting effect on the actors.
At the start, we were talking about Harris Savides. What elements of his cinematography work inspired you?
I mean, I always love that Harris is not very overly precious with lighting and letting kind of actors run through spaces. And I like that sense of letting actors have that kind of freedom. When I used to work with him, he used to love when, you know, if I made like this light and it was like too pretty, he would just like go and just mess it up. And he says, yeah, that's better. And I go, okay, you know. But he was, I just love that about him. We tend to sometimes as cinematographers always want to feel like we have to do something, and I just liked his ability to let it be.
And pan.
There's scenes that we rehearsed that were really tricky, you know, especially when you have one go at it. There was the national anthem that's at Silverstone. We had to rehearse it. You had to be on the money on time. Everything was timed up to the last second. We don't get a redo on that. So on the national anthem, actually, I'm operating one of the cameras, and in the shot, I actually slightly tripped. It's a little bobble that I did. It's like on the pullback, and you'll see it just like a little, and and it's in there, and it kind of like I see it, and I was like, but it's, you know, it's all real shot, and you have one go. If I had a chance, I'd love to go again, but that's not the opportunity we have.
You raced with me back in the day.
Against him.
You know, it's interesting that you're working in someone else's world. You know, like we weren't their main priority. They're allowing us to kind of work in their world. I always just feel like we're like this kind of annoying little hornet. And there was a really an emotional scene at the end in F1 for me. It was the final race. And in the red flag moment, all the cars line up in the pit lane. And all the teams brought out all their cars, you know, to kind of join in the movie, which is kind of kind of a little bit amazing moment because it feels like that shot. When you're looking at it, I feel like I'm operating a live CG shot, but it was just all in camera. It was just really just awesome to feel all that kind of the love back on that end, you know.